Podcast New York.
What's up, Dueling Decades? This is Wax. Peace to all you guys, and thanks for having me on the show. Will it be the 90s or the 80s? Beanie Babies or Crack Babies? Will it be Nirvana or Madonna? Maybe Britney, maybe Whitney. Do you like new metal or new wave? Dave Grohl or Super Dave? I don't know. But now the battle begins. Dueling Decades. Let's see who wins.
Dueling Decades. All right, Drew Zakmin, you pick up a point. You tie up this game heading into our final 1-point round. You get control of the board. What category are we going with next?
All right, I'm going to do TV. All right, so if you're a sports fan, specifically living in Boston, odds are you may have been tuned in to the Red Sox game against the Milwaukee Brewers. Maybe not, though, given the Red Sox were 9-15 at the time and Milwaukee was 10-11, so not exactly a battle of first-place powerhouses. Now, while the teams weren't doing well, there was no shortage of all-star talent here. Milwaukee had a young Robin Yount, as well as some guy named Hank Aaron, two Hall of Famers right there. And Boston had Carl Yastrzemski and Carlton Fisk, two more Hall of Famers, and also Dwight Evans, who should be in the Hall. I honestly don't know why he's not, but still some good talent there. Records weren't showing it. Terrible pitching on both sides, basically. But this game in particular was not about the offense. It was, in fact, about the pitching. Now, Boston jumped out to an early 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first before Milwaukee tied it in the second, and Boston would take the lead for good in the fifth as the Sox wound up winning 2-1. So a good pitcher's duel here. So, like I said, right, this game is about the pitching. Milwaukee's Pete Broberg took the loss, while Jim Willoughby for Boston earned the save. But Boston's starting pitcher, well, he threw 6 in the third innings while scattering 5 hits and allowing only 1 earned run. Now, that Boston pitcher would only pitch in the majors until the end of the 1978 season. And while his career ERA of 5.05 might not look like much, he certainly provided some stiff competition. During his 1977 season with Seattle, he threw 3 complete games, proving he could last all night. He did give up a few home runs in his career, 61 to be exact. So he did get spanked around a bit. But on May 14th, 1976, one pitcher was a head above the rest, and that pitcher was Dick Pole. There we go. So
nice.
May 14th, 1976, we got to watch Dick Pole pitch well against the Brewers.
Oh, that's great. Back in the Mark, do you remember that episode we did back in the day when we were Poop Culture with the weird sports names?
Yeah, we had Dick Pole and Rusty Kuntz.
Rusty Kuntz.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. That was a great one. All right, Mancrush, what did you bring?
All right, so let's go May 12th, 1995. We got a Friday here. I was initially going to pick the conclusion of a show right here, and then I came across something very odd, and it sparked my interest. So now, like, one of the reasons we started doing this show was to give folks like a little bit like a mental vacation from the daily grind, allowing our audience to reminisce about nostalgia. But the other reason, and this is what makes it fun for me, is finding things from our youth that we may have overlooked, or perhaps things that just weren't initially in our wheelhouse that we actually enjoy as adults. And for me, this selection falls into the latter category. And here we get a debut of a show that would premiere a few weeks later on Comedy Central, May 28th to be exact. So I know you're saying to yourself, Mancrush, why the fuck are you picking it? Well, it's sort of like what would happen when we find a sneak preview for a movie. The same exact thing occurred for this TV show. On Friday, May 12, 1995, in roughly 25 theaters, they showed the first episode of this hilarious new, this is quotes here, hilarious new Comedy Central series. And actually, it is pretty fun. Dr. Katz, Professional Therapist. And they played it before certain feature presentations at the movie theater. I saw these commercials all the time in the late 90s, like all the time. I never gave 2 shits about it. I was like, never gave it a chance. Well, thanks to some dude on YouTube that uploaded all 6 seasons and 81 episodes into one video that's like 11 hours long. I stayed up for like 2 hours. Actually, it was probably longer than that because I think I watched like 7 or 8 episodes in a row. So I finally watched it. It's pretty damn hilarious. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show before. I'm not sure if I would have loved it as much as a teen, but as an adult, it's damn good, man. Like a lot of stuff they talk about is just hilarious. Like I don't think I would have even gotten it as a teen, but definitely as an adult you do. But if you don't remember this one, you might remember this. They use something called squiggle vision.
Yeah. Squiggle
So
vision.
so there was a cartoon, but it looked like everyone had Parkinson's. Like it's kind of difficult to watch at first, but you get used to it. But they utilize this so they can incorporate a comedian's stand-up performance as like he was on the couch with Dr. Katz. So they would like use a part from his bit, and then Dr. Katz would reply, and they'd go back and forth, and you would never know the whys, or they didn't have to match up the mouths, they didn't have to do anything because they had this weird squiggle thing going on, right? At least the several episodes that I watched, that's how they were. It's very dry humor, and it features amazing comedians. You had Ray Romano, Dave Attell, Kevin Meaney, Jon Stewart, Louis C.K. Are we allowed to talk about Louis C.K. again?
Who knows?
I'm not sure of the rules anymore. Mitch Hedberg,
I love
classic,
Mitch Hedberg.
rest in peace. Emo Phillips, great one from back in the day. Conan O'Brien was on it. Gilbert Gottfried, Rodney Dangerfield, Bob Goldthwait, even had Dave Chappelle. I mean, the list literally goes on and on and on for this show for like 6 seasons. So if you dig comedy, these comedy like therapy sessions, they're gold. Like everything that goes on in them, like you don't even have to pay too much attention as an adult. You just watch it. And I was laughing my ass off. But go check out. It's Dr. Katz, professional therapist. And if you're quick enough, you can go watch this dude's 11 hours of it all in one video. It's up there, or go buy it. I mean, it's funny. But yeah, that's what I got. It was played in the movie theaters. So it's weird.
Awesome. Yeah, I was a huge fan of that show. Yeah. Good humor.
Do you watched it back then?
Yeah, I watched it when it originally came out. I haven't seen it since, but
I wish I did.
It was a fantastic show.
Oh, it's so funny. Him dealing with his son.
Yeah.
He's like just dumb as shit. Oh, it's great.
And I haven't worked at Comedy Central for about 6 years, so not saying this for them, it's for the audience. But supposedly the Comedy Central app has everything that's ever been on Comedy Central, so
no shit.
you might be able to find it on there too.
And it'll probably be better quality because the ones that are on YouTube, they're all ripped from VHS.
Yeah, if it's on there, I don't know how far they have some really old stuff on there, but I don't know if that's
And they
on
brought
there.
it back a couple times, so they might have like the older stuff or the newer stuff. Because I think I might have seen like 2007 or something, somewhere around there. They had brought it back, so they might have it. Definitely check it out. It's funny. If for older people, I'm 43. I watch it now, and a lot of stuff's relatable. So
yeah. All right, guys. So I found my television selection in the prime time highlights section of the Orlando Sentinel, May 14th, 1988. And where the headline read, "An ocean of talent is on hand for Atlantic Records 40th Bash. Atlantic Records 40th anniversary. It's only rock and roll. A 4-hour celebration spotlighting performances by top rock, jazz, rhythm, and blues artists spanning the label's 4-decade history. Will be televised at 8 tonight on Home Box Office. The program will originate live from New York City's Madison Square Garden. Among the Atlantic artists scheduled to perform on the show are the Average White Band, the Bee Gees, Phil Collins, Mick Jagger, Genesis, the Manhattan Transfer, Herbie Mann, the Rascals, New Shoes, Michael Hutchence of INXS, Iron Butterfly, Benny King, Debbie Gibson, The Coasters, Robert Plant, Keith Richards, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Vanilla Fudge, and yes, and the article completely forgets the headliner of the act, the reunion of Led Zeppelin, John Paul Jones, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant with Jason Bonham on drums. From that night from them, we heard Kashmir, Heartbreaker, Whole Lotta Love, Misty Mountain Hop, and of course, Stairway to Heaven. Now, there were some non-music guests there as well. That included Bill Murray, Lisa Bonet, and Michael Douglas. and Robert Hayes from Airplane. He served as the guest guide for the special event, offering kind of a backstage look at the concert, and he did some interviews and stuff. So,
Do you still have his drinking problem during that?
yeah, with all those rock stars, yeah, man, I feel bad for him. So May 14th, 1988, it's Atlantic Records celebrating their 40th anniversary with 4 hours of it on HBO. Now, HBO only covered 4 hours. The concert in itself was over 13.
Can I just clarify? Did you call the Bee Gees an average white band? Is that what you said?
No. We had the Average White Band and the Bee Gees.
Oh, I thought you were starting there and then you were leading up to Led Zeppelin, which was the above average white band.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Where does Vanilla Fudge land in that?
They're in the middle. They're all right.
They forget, Led Zeppelin, but they include fucking New Shoes. Like, wow. All right, let's toss it down to Mike Henneberger for his verdict on the television round.
This was a good one, and it's tough for me because, of course, Dr. Katz, like you said, it's one of those things like I would never have gotten at the age I was when it came out, even though like I've been a huge comedy nerd my whole life, from just our such early memories of watching Saturday Night Live when I probably didn't even get those, but yeah, I'm definitely going to go back and take a look at those because I know how highly regarded it is in the world of comedy. So I'm sure it's going to be amazing, and I'm glad to have something that I can go back to and appreciate now as an adult. And let's see, Dick Pole. I mean, come on, like
Dick Pole.
That I was leaning towards Dick Pole for a little while.
So was he?
Not something I do often. But and then Atlantic Records, I got to give them a shout out because they let me use a Death Cab for Cutie song in my audiobook for free. Of course, I needed the Death Cab for Cutie's management's approval on that and the band's, which I got. And that was one of the bands in my audiobook that I was really scared of being able to get. So I went and there's 20 songs in my audiobook, from small punk bands to Jimmy Eat World. But I left Jimmy Eat World and Death Cab for Cutie for last so I could kind of lay on their management and record labels and say like, well, everybody else gave me their music for free. Why are you guys want to be the only ones? So Atlantic Records let me use them. Probably weren't around when that concert happened. But still a great record label. So to make things interesting, I'm going to go with Atlantic Records.
All right.
Yeah,
You know who wasn't on that guest list? Dick Pole.
Shame.
He just wasn't written. Yeah, it's good that you brought that up though. And I was wondering while I was listening to your book with all those bands in there, what would you have done? Because obviously you wrote it with the songs in mind.
Yeah.
What would you have done if they were like, nah, you can't use it?
Well, I was going to. If I couldn't have gotten the Jimmy Eat World songs, I wouldn't have released it because for those who don't know, every chapter of the book has a song that goes with it, and it appears as like a soundtrack to what's happening. It's not like an essay about the song, and so the first chapter is a Jimmy Eat World song, and that kind of sets up the format, And so if I couldn't have had that song in there, it wouldn't have made sense. And so I would have just fought. I mean, it took me almost a year to get all the songs cleared because I was that dedicated to having it the way it's supposed to be. And in fact, Universal Music was going to charge me for the Jimmy Eat World songs. And the thing is 50% of the royalties from my book, ebook, and audiobook are going to mental health charities, and artist relief, and tour crew relief charities. So
Nice.
That's a big part of why bands allowed me to use their music for free. And the book is about, mental health struggles, and how music kind of helped me get through that. And that's none of these bands let me use this music because I am me, because I'm nobody, So they let me use it because of that stuff. And the deal was set from the first bands that it's called an MFN, Most Favored Nations agreement, meaning that you can use these songs for free as long as no one else gets paid. Whoever gets paid for it, then you have to pay these bands the same amount. So whoever's like the most favored, that gets applied to everyone else. So if I had to pay one band, I had to pay all of them for publishing and for masters, which would have come out on the price that Universal Music was going to charge me for Jimmy Eat World, which was $125 for 2 Jimmy Eat World songs each. That's such an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
You know, that's just like, it means nothing. And even if the band got 50% of that, split between 4 guys, like, what? That's so arbitrary, and it was bullshit. But also, it would have come out to over $10,000 for me, and I wouldn't have been able to do that. So Jimmy Eat World just recorded some live stream concerts this year, where they re-recorded their music on these live streams. And so I was able to go to Jimmy Eat World and get those new recordings, so I wouldn't have to pay Universal Music, but I had to go through their management, and their management talked to them, and I like paid for this VIP session, meet and greet online, so I could tell them about it, so they would understand that I'm not just some guy exploiting their music. And so they were familiar with it. And yeah, they were totally cool about letting me use that stuff for free. So I wouldn't have to pay Universal Music. And in fact, Dashboard Confessional and the Smoking Popes gave me re-recorded versions of their songs that they own too, so I wouldn't have to go to Universal Music. So yeah, I mean, hearing the audiobook now, I've come to realize that this like should have started as an audiobook. Like it's meant to be heard as an audiobook. It's not meant to be read. I mean, I feel really great about it and really proud of it as a book, but hearing the audiobook, it like actually puts you in it.
110%. Dude, like I told Mark this when I first got it. I think it was like like April 27th or something was like the date, or 28th was the date that it came out on Audible, and they put it in my account, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start listening to this. That and Tyler Posey reading the book,
yeah,
dude, it feels like, and I always listen to it at nighttime. So like I'm getting ready to go to bed, I'm laying in bed, I'm not watching television, I'm listening to the book, and it puts you in that hotel room. Dude, it's like a one-man movie with flashbacks that you can. He does such a fantastic. I listen to. I think I said this to either you or Steph or somebody. Like, I listen to a ton of audiobooks, and he does an amazing job where he puts you in that room.
Yeah.
You don't get that often. It's usually puts me asleep. And the worst part about your book is that it kept me up because I was listening to it, and I'm like,
when you said
fucking AM.
When you said that you were listening to it like before bed, I had that thought because other people have told me that too, and it's always been the same thing. Like, they stay up for 3 hours, or for like, I mean, it's only 6 hours long. But yeah, I mean, I take very little credit for how good the audiobook is because Tyler did such an amazing job with it. And then also the music being in there. Like, I'll take credit as like the producer who came up with the idea and put it together. But like having those bands, like their voices, and then Tyler's also, makes it so different that like I feel like I can listen to it objectively. Like I feel like it's not my book anymore because, I mean, Tyler also did it for free. You know, we had a mutual connection through our publicist, and he's, you know, has played in pop punk bands and is in the emo scene too, and so like, and has talked about his mental health issues. And so when he read the book, he just related to it so much that I mean, I have a video interview that I put out with him where he says, like, I didn't know what you wanted me to do, whether it was an audiobook, whether it was a TV show, I was just down to do it. So like, I'm hoping we get to make a TV show out of it.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
For sure. It's like, at the very least, the two things I see is either a play.
Yeah, I thought of that too.
or a movie. Like I saw it as a movie. I was like, this can totally be one night. This dude sitting in there and just going through. It's amazing. Like go out and read this book.
Yeah, I mean, I thought of it as a movie first, but because it's so kind of serialized, it feels like
true.
Those need to be like episodes because I don't know how.
It's almost, I
don't know how I would make it a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, you couldn't. You know what? It actually reminds me of, and it's completely different, but 13 Reasons Why, the way that first season is set up, not before the second season, and it got all crazy, but like that first season, how it's like segmented up, I could totally see it. Like, cool. 13 episodes.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like Tyler too, like he did it for the same reasons as like the bands. Like he could relate to it, and he, wanted to be part of what it could do, like the potential it has to help other people who went through that stuff, like I did. Like the only reason it exists is because I'm not that person anymore, and I'm healthy enough. I'm mentally healthy enough to be able to say like, not be ashamed of that anymore because I overcame it, and now I get to say like that's who I was, but look who I am now, and I want other people to know that that's possible, Right. So yeah, no, I hopefully I'll if I can get you guys ways to listen to it too if you haven't. Yeah, I mean, I just want people to hear it. I barely make any money off of it, but I mean that's not what it's about. Like
it's really good, man. And like just circling back to the episode, I could totally see you at a bar trying to talk to a chick about Crimson Tide.
Yeah, for sure. That was my go-to. That was my opener.
You never say it in the book, but now I'm putting two.
I didn't want to give away my gold,